my name is Deborah Soria, and I live in Rome, in Italy. I am a bookstore. I have my own bookstore for children, and it's called Ottimo Massimo, and it's a project that's been going on since 2006. And my bookstore is on a van, so we go around Italy, and we are specialized in books for children. So I have been specialized for years now, and I am a part of IBBY. Have been since the beginning of the Italian section of IBBY. So I'm an activist, we could say. And I started this project on Lampedusa, on the island of Lampedusa in 2012 now. So this is the 10th year of the project. So we had a section of IBBY in Italy. You were all aware of IBBY and what it is, and it's the International Board of Books for Young People. And IBBY is an association that works with quality of books for children. Very often it happens that people of IBBY are very good talkers, and they can do lots of symposiums like this one, or they can talk about things a lot. But I'm a very practical person. So IBBY is about bringing books to children, and we were just talking about doing it, but we weren't really doing projects on the ground. In 2012, there was a big migration problem in Lampedusa because of the Arab, what do you call it in English? The Arab Spring. So there was a big amount of children and people that were arriving in Lampedusa, and the newspapers and we're all talking about this great crisis. So I thought that we could become practical there, and we could start bringing books to Lampedusa just to welcome these children that were arriving. So yeah, that's when we started. And of course we started with one idea, and then it was completely wrong. So we had to change the idea lots of times in the progress of doing things. And it became what it is now. So it's a very strange project that changes very often, and it changes with the borders, and we're learning about books and about how to use them and what happens when a book comes into a community. And so that's when it started. But it started like in a talk in a museum, but me is like, the volunteers from IBBY Italy. Of course, IBBY International is behind everything, and it's a project that we do with IBBY International. At the first, we were like a few, like 5 or 6. Of course, we sat down and we decided a project together, and we thought about it. And the project is very complex because it's about studying and understanding silent books, collecting them from all over the world, and also putting them in a library where they are used and where we can look at what happens when they get into the hands of children and adults. Okay. So the project has, every 2 years, we ask the international community, that's more than 70 sections all over the world, to send their best silent books to the project. And they send the books in 3 copies. So 1 copy goes to Lampedusa, 1 copy goes to the Palazzo delle Esposizioni, that's a museum in Rome that keeps the core of the project, so we can study it and work with it. And another copy goes in an international exhibition that the sections can ask for, anyone can ask for, and IBBY International sends it around. So it's been all over the world now. It's been to Australia, it's been to Mexico, it's been all over the place. So when the exhibition arrives, people of the community that work with books and with children and visual, communication can study them, have them in their hands, try things out, and see if they understand what's happening with this new form of communicating without having a story underneath. I mean, with a story, but without words that go with it. In this way, the whole project connects the whole network of people around the world that have same problems, because migration problem is not a problem that's fixed in Lampedusa. It's just in Italy, it's very obvious, and you can see it in Lampedusa, but it's now all over the place. So Latin America has this. People are displaced for so many reasons now, because of wars, because of climate change, because of economics, and displacement is something that brings a lot of trauma with it. And people that work trying to lessen this trauma need tools, and silent books is one of these tools, and it can be used very, very powerfully, and it can help communication and empathy and also understanding what someone else is going through, but not just helping. It's like growing together to become something that can communicate. In Lampedusa, there's a place where migrants arrive on their boat. They arrive with policemen and everything. So we often go there and bring tea and come, we do this welcoming thing, and it's very strange. We just go there and say, hello, welcome. Because when you travel, when you get somewhere, you always want someone on the other side to be happy that you're there. It's just something very, very simple, very, very small. So because policemen and everything's very military governed, don't do that. They just do their job and just shove them around from here to there. We just sit in the middle and say, hello, we're so happy you're here. Anyway, you can do that, but you can't, they don't understand your language. They understand your body. So you have to use your body a lot. You have to use, they're very tired. They don't know where they are, what's happening. They don't know what their future is going to be. And the only language you have is your body language. And you have to go right to the core of yourself to find that again, because we don't use it very much anymore. So I think silence has this in it. So when you read with someone in silence and you can't use your vocabulary, you start asking your body to work with you and help you to show the other person that you're on the same page, that you understood what happened to what they're seeing, and that you're going somewhere together. So yeah, I gave that word silent a very, very special meaning. And we got these very specific, very nice and tiny, super quality children's library. And it's been open since 2017, because it took us 5 years of struggle to open it. And that's things that we learned along the way. So it was interesting for me to understand how you live a project. I mean, you can do projects in this world and you can just have money, do something, go away, and just pretend that it's working. And this was a project that asked us to be there, like physically, and become aware of the situation, understand the people there, try to talk to them, understand their limits, become part of the community in some way, suffer with them. And yeah, and it got me thinking that it's much more difficult than what I thought it was, but more challenging too. And along the way, lots of people came together around this project, and there's now a big community of volunteers that just love it and come. And so we have a camp, IBBY people, but people from all over the world come, and we just gather around and look at each other, understand who we are, and try to work together. It's very interesting, because if you're working with newcomers, you have to be a newcomer yourself. It's very... So it's a week where we work with the children in Lampedusa, so mostly Italian children, and we work together. We understand each other's, how people do things, and then in the evening we talk. We have talks about, if someone very interesting comes, we will ask him to tell us their story and what they're doing. And and this year it's going to be a celebration camp, because it's the 10th year, and then we are super happy that we're still there. It's very strange. I don't even know how to. I don't know why people keep coming back. I always think, well, we've done it once, but people that come keep coming back, because it's empowering, and you understand how you're evolving and what you're doing, and how you can work with silence. We work mostly with silence. The library is a building of the mayor. It's a building of Lampedusa. Yeah, it's right in front of the school. It's in the main street of Lampedusa. It's a perfect place, actually. And,
was it donated to you? Was it given to you? Offered,
it was given to us. Given to us. It's not given to us. It's of the community. So it's of Lampedusa. Yeah. And so the community. We don't pay bills or anything. It's in there, but we do activities and stuff, and it's open to all the children and grown-ups of Lampedusa. So yeah, it's interesting. Lampedusa is a place where there hasn't been a cinema or a theater, or children didn't actually have something of the community. They didn't know what it meant that something was of everyone. It might be very strange to understand in some countries, but Italy is a strange place. And because Lampedusa is so far away, Nobody actually has any control over it. So people that live there control everything. So the library was one of the first things, and children didn't know what it meant. So they didn't understand like borrowing. They thought, what is borrowing? Is it mine? No. Is it yours? No. Can I take it home? Yeah. Do I have to pay? No. And no, I have. They really were mixed up about this thing. And at the beginning, we spent a whole year just teaching them that they could borrow and bring back. And we learned with them that it happens in life. It happens in communities that something of common, is very difficult to understand, and mostly in a capitalistic world where you buy and sell, and they are children that have everything. They have iPads and phones. It's not like we're not talking about a community in the middle of a forest. It's a very advanced and technological community, but they never had a book. And at the beginning, they had never seen an adult read a book to a child. Now they are very into books and they know everything, and they're even very technical about books because they know what silent books are. And Lampedusa is a very strong place because it's on the border, and borders are really very strange place to live and to see because they keep changing. Everything is so mobile. We're not used to it. It's very, very challenging for your even psychology. I mean, one day you're in the middle of everything, another day you're forgotten by everyone. One day it's tourism, one day it's migration, one day it's politics, one day it's religion. It's just everything is very, very and you understand on the border that's how we should live. We're used to being stable in our houses and everything, but things could just change in any minute. And we found that out during the pandemic. But yeah, that's how the world is, and they live there all the time and all the year, and that's very interesting to look at and to understand. Lampedusa has this thing where you can be in contact with migrants, but now after the pandemic, it's very difficult because everything's become very controlled. Lampedusa is the place where people arrive, and you can see them if you're very careful because it's a touristic place. So it's modern. They think, keep them very divided. After the pandemic, it's become very, very, very strict. So now before they had this camp where they lived, it's not a prison and nobody can put someone into prison if they haven't done anything wrong. But there's this thing, and before there was a big hole in the fence and you could actually come in and out because they have to wait for a ship to come and get them and take them to the mainland. Now there's a double wall around it with police, and so now they cannot get out of the camp. So when we know there's children inside, we always find a way to send books in. But it's so complicated. It's very difficult to explain. People that look after the migrants in the camp, they keep changing and changing. So sometimes they're nice, most times they're not very nice, and they don't want to talk to us. But when there was a hole and we knew there were children, we would send the message because people know each other, and we would send them. Like sometimes the families would come out and they would come to the library, or young, teenagers would come out in the evening, mostly because they knew that they weren't going anywhere that night anyway. So they would come out to the library and we could interact with them. That happened. But it might happen again. It's the borders. Now, in this moment, it's not happening because of COVID. But who knows? And in that, the importance of having a library on the border to be there, to be a witness of what's happening on the borders is so important. And the fact that it's a library for children makes my heart jump. It's like, it's a place where anyone with any skill can arrive and find something to read. So if you're a tourist, if you're a newcomer, if you're someone who's wandering around the sea, if you're a journalist, if you're an actor, if you're anyone you are, you can get to the library in Lampedusa and find something for you to look at and to understand and to stop and to think, okay, what are we doing here? Migrants, what migrants can carry with them is something that we don't understand. And every time they pass through a border, they have to leave everything they have. So if you give a book to a child, he won't be able to bring it with him. It's very difficult to understand what you can carry with you and what is just useless for your travel. For children, it's the worst. And I think the world's not doing enough because we don't understand how difficult it is for a child leave everything and to not, their world is so small. When they leave it, they don't exist anymore. So what we are trying to do actually is to make grown-ups that are working with them aware that stories are something that you can take with you, even if you don't take the book with you. So if you read a story in a place with someone, you will take that story with you in some way. You don't need the physical, but the adult that is with you for that short time has to know how to like break that bridge before it's, I mean, you don't have so much time. You can't become really friends. And a book has, silent books mostly have this power of connecting people in very brief time, because it's not me struggling to make you understand something. It's me and you going in a place where we've been together. And next time we meet, we can say, I recognize you. We've been somewhere together. So these ONGs go around the Mediterranean and save people. And sometimes the political situation is that they cannot go back to land. So they're stuck in the middle of the sea, and it happens often. So in Lampedusa, you know about it, and you know they're out there and they're stuck in the middle of the sea. Nobody's helping them for days and days and days. So from Lampedusa, it happens that we send things like water and food, because of course they need things. And we wanted to send books sometimes. I mean, it happened that we said, why don't we send some books? But the organizers always told us, no, because books give you this idea of stability. We don't want them to think that we're going to stay here forever. They have to know that we're going to go away at a certain point. So please don't send books. And so we did this project called Books on Board, and everybody was very happy about it. And I tried to be very, so it's a suitcase, and it's waterproof, and there's a thing to sit down inside, and there's things to color and books and da. So the ships were very happy, and we gave them, we were trying it out. So we gave it to 3 ships, and then the pandemic arrived.
I don't think there's, any lack of dreams and lack of plans to be noticed with you, Deb.
No.
Thank you very much for this chat.
Thank you. Hope you have a wonderful seminar, and that you learn and understand lots of things about visual communication, because it's important. And I'm sorry that I can't see you all. And
I do hope to be able to greet you here in Ljubljana,
I will come very happily, and have a nice end of session. And
thank you very much. Thank you, and buona fortuna a te alla Biblioteca di Lampedusa. I hope I got it right.
Grazie molte.
And hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Me too. Goodbye.